Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, November 17, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 6:13 p.m. Jamaica time. Tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days, and this is the reason why not much of anything is trying to develop across the Atlantic at this time. There's some clouds right here associated with the intertropical convergence zone across the southern main development region, extending from the west coast of Africa all the way over into northeastern South America, and some frontal systems still across the waters of the northern portion of North Atlantic. And we know that if something should form, the next name on the list is Nestor. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see one of those frontal systems extending from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to Florida and the Gulf. There's another frontal system right here extending from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the main development region. Some broken orange lines associated with a trough right here to the north of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Another trough right here extending from the northwestern Caribbean into Cuba. There's actually another trough right here to the east of the Lesser Antilles, another trough right here to the north of French Guyana, and another trough right here just to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost the sunlight, let us see if we can make out some of these troughs. So first of all, there's the trough of low pressure right here, just to the west of Cuba, still affecting the air with some amount of cloud showers and thunderstorms. Another trough right in here, just to the east of the Caribbean. Another trough right here, just to the north of French Guyana. We see the frontal system right here extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to Florida right in here. That other frontal system extending from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the main development region. And we can make out the clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone extending from Africa across the main development region southern section all the way over into northeastern South America. We know that the intertropical convergence zone is basically where the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere. So I don't want you to think that all of these clouds are going to be pushing westward into the Caribbean or anything like that and possibly develop. Nothing like that is going to be taking place, especially considering that there's so much upper level wind shear out there ripping these thunderstorms apart at this time. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, November 17, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some eastern, central, and western parishes during Monday afternoon. And we know that eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 2:46 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you cannot afford to miss. So we can see the clouds that are bringing some overcast skies, if not some isolated shower activity across section of the eastern, central, and the western end of the island. So more so Kingston, St. Andrew, section of St. Catherine, so to section of Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth, southern Trelawney, section of St. James into Hanover, and parts of Westmoreland got in on the isolated shore activity at that time, but as the afternoon progressed, look at what took place according to the visible satellite imagery. Thunderstorms started to pop up across sections of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, spilling into sections of Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth. Got the burnt off it, as you can see here. And look at the direction that the upper level clouds are blowing towards the east, just as we stated it would in yesterday's video, all courtesy of that upper level wind shear. And we can see those thunderstorm clouds even better. All of these blues, greens, yellows, oranges, even reds that represents the cumulonimbus cloud cover. Not to mention the sparkling white dots, especially across St. Elizabeth, that we know represents some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. And if we take a look, the Jamaican Doppler radar not showing anything, still down. So I guess we can't depend on that, only the satellite images, but we can also depend on the live camera from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. And at around 15:05, that's about 3:05 p.m. As you can see here, they were getting some moderate to heavy rainfall. Look at the water that they're splashing through. Windshield wipers on, blinding rainfall. Can barely see the hills of St. Andrew. Definitely some decent rainfall took place at that time for sure. And just to show you, 5 hours ago, this was the view. We could definitely see the hills right in here to show that they were definitely, you know, visible. But according to that time, that was what, 15:05. Let's see if I can find that time back. Okay, that's 14. Okay, so there we go. Definitely some heavy rainfall was taking place in the Barbican area at that time. So that's 2:55. So let's just jump a bit to about 10 minutes later. So I have the correct time right about here. All right, there we go. So now you can't even make out the hills. They were definitely getting in on some very, well, moderate to heavy rainfall at the most part in that part of northern St. Andrew for sure today. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website. This map does indeed paint quite the picture, for we had that rainfall today across section of Kingston, St. Andrew, and some central and western parishes, but clearly it was more so some south central and southwestern parishes than anything else. I would definitely have some comments that came in from some of our followers about what the weather is like in their area for today. You have Tracia JB stating rain and a bit of wind in Mona Yui. This was posted 3 hours ago. We have Sunny posting 3 hours ago, raining cats and dogs in Ligani, Kingston. We have T_Drew16. Posting 2 hours ago, rain in Portmore. We have Unkempt Plain Jane posting 2 hours ago. It is raining in downtown Kingston. Even on our Facebook page, we had Terrian sitting hot and sunny, posted 3 hours ago in her area. Even on our Instagram page, we had comments that came in 2 hours ago. Hot Diva 114 stating light rain in Portmore. Terrian.Powell stating raining heavily on Red Hills Road. Pretty Face Shell stating it's raining now, Vineyard Town. And we had at least one comment that came in here on our third page. We had Misha_Richardson posting 1 hour ago. Got some rains in Kingston for a good hour. Sun's out now. Thank you all for confirming what the weather was like in your ear for today. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image here from the Weather Nerds website. The latest Jamaican Doppler radar image. The latest Cuban Doppler radar image. The latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar image. And the latest Cayman radar. We want to see exactly what's taking place right now. Alright, so the latest infrared satellite imagery right here shows 23:25 UTC, which is actually 6:25 p.m. So this just came out 7 minutes ago, right? Considering that it is 6:32 p.m. right now. And as you can see, not much in the way of cloud cover across the island. Just some leftover clouds from today's afternoon rainfall, especially across the southern coastal areas. Unfortunately, we can't even make out if there is actually any rainfall underneath all of those clouds. Jamaican Doppler radar is down. Cuban Doppler radar looks like it glitched out at around 5:40 p.m. As you can see, at that time we were getting in some rainfall across southern Manchester, southern to Elizabeth, some rain bands just to the west of Hanover as well, the greens into the yellows. Now we know represents some amount of moderate in the green, moderate rainfall, into some yellows, fuerte, that's stronger heavy rainfall, especially out to sea. And some of you might be saying, what about these colors across the north coast with the Jamaica? Nope, that's ground clutter, so I don't want you to think that there's any rainfall within those clouds. The rainfall is right in here as well as right down here as represented by these clouds. Clearly we're not really seeing much of any clouds across the north coast at all to warrant all of these colors, so that is ground clutter. That's just a glitch on the Doppler radar, which is why we wish we had the Jamaica Doppler radar up and running. But since Melissa, it has been up and down here and there, so hopefully it gets sorted out soon. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, let us see if we can pause on the latest time, which is, this is 23:21, so this is actually showing a similar time to the latest one. So 4 minutes prior to this infrared satellite imagery is what the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar is showing. Not seeing much of anything across northeastern Jamaica or the western peninsula of Haiti. Do see some what looks like maybe some rain in the greens right in here across the area to the northeast of Guantanamo. Not really sure if there's rainfall there at all, but clearly for the most part it is definitely fair across the greater Antilles. The Cayman radar has been glitched, well, it has glitched out for the past couple of days. Hopefully they get it sorted out soon. As you can see here, sorry, radar images are unavailable at this time. The live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel shows downtown Kingston, all of the hustling and bustling, very busy as you can see here. Can you imagine when it gets back to Christmas time? It's gonna be way busier than this. But as you can see here, people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at this time. Is this the live camera? Okay, this is the live camera, 1834. I think it was showing 1831 earlier. But as you can see, still busy. Definitely fair conditions right now. And that should be the order of the evening into the night. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're at 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius, well, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in the grays that represents average temperatures. And we know the average temperature for the month of November across Jamaica is around 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.1 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.1, well, we should be receiving 31.1 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. And we're glad that we're seeing a lot of people talking about how JPS is hard at work. So hopefully they get their power soon so that they're not in the heat. Hopefully they can get their ACs or their fans up and running. We have one person here on JPS's, well, they reposted this one from Punisher 30 stating, finally some hope for Hanover, man. Am I happy to see JPS touch down? And we see them hard at work with all of their trucks and so on. Another one right here from S Brooks JNM 25 stating, we continue to see the works of the JPS team in this affected time and it is greatly appreciated. And we see them with all of the images here hard at work in a lot of communities here and there, trying to get everybody back on the grid. Another one right here, yes sir Ski stating, my JPS was here working at 11 p.m. last night, got back power today, much respect. And finally we have Barbara Blake stating, Melissa News, JPS working hard in Hanover, and there they are over there, and it is a good look for sure. Hopefully everybody can get back on the grid soon. We have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. So if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down, it states here, seek shade when outside, eat first, try eating cold food such as salads and fruits, rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired, soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. The yellows, the oranges, the reds, and what's in those reds. You can see some dry air extending all the way from Africa across the main development region right in here. Some dry air across the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down into portions of the Caribbean, the Gulf, of the east coast of the US, a lot of dry air. We know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, shutting down the Atlantic in general. And we see a lot of that going on here and there. Some moisture across the eastern Caribbean and the western main development region. A lot of moisture across the southern main development region. We have the intertropical convergent zone. And regarding the Saharan, that's forecast for the next 3 days. So we're heading into November 18, November 19, and November 20. And as you can see here, the Caribbean should be in the clear from Saharan dust. We know that the Saharan dust is represented by the greens, yellows, oranges, and pinks. And we don't see any of that coming through at all. We're grateful for that, because you know that the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're glad that this is the forecast for the next 3 days in terms of the Saharan dust. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, still seeing those light shades of blues to blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 for meter wave height all the way up to a meter wave height, and that's because of the winds that are expected. We see more of an easterly, if not east northeasterly, flow across the Caribbean, averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 up to 20 knots at most. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland, 0.8 of a meter wave height expected. To the north of St. Anne, 1 meter wave height expected. To the north of Hanover, 0.9 of a meter wave height expected. To the south of Westmoreland, 0.3 of a meter wave height expected. To the south of Clarendon, 0.4 of a meter wave height expected. To the south of St. Thomas, 0.7 of a meter wave height expected. And that is because of the winds that are expected tomorrow. We see more of a northeasterly flow of the winds coming in from that direction, from the windward passage between Cuba and Haiti. And we also see it pushing south of us, so still more of a east northeasterly, if not a northeasterly flow. And we see where the air should be piling up across the southern portion of the island. So if we actually get some clouds to pile up and we get some daytime heating rainfall, it would be more so across the south coast, anywhere from Kingston westward, maybe Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. We'll see it actually plays out, and we see that the upper level wind shear for tomorrow is coming in from the west northwest. So if we actually get some thunderstorms to formulate tomorrow, the cloud tops will be blown off towards that direction, definitely favoring more overcast skies across these southern parishes. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 3 p.m. The thing is, I don't see much in the way of rainfall all day for both, from both the Euro and the GFS malls for Jamaica. This is the driest I've seen a forecast, to be honest. But that doesn't mean that we can't get rainfall even when these maps show nothing. The Euro is showing some slight blues across maybe the western cockpit country, southern St. James into the border of St. Anne and Westmoreland right there. GFS not showing anything, so GFS on the drier side. But as I've stated before, don't be surprised if we actually get some clouds to formulate across the south central and southwestern parishes to bring us some isolated shower activity. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that there's going to be rainfall somewhere. We see up to 0.19 of an inch of rainfall on the Euro. Keep in mind that this map is showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. The GFS only going up to the slight shades of greens, maybe up to 0.1 of an inch of rainfall at most. We'll see it actually plays out. And whatever happens, we just have to take it. We're in the month of November, and in St. James, we usually receive 128 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 5 inches of rainfall. While in St. Elizabeth, we usually receive 92 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 3.6 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of November or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show you that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right down here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we're looking at 12Z on Wednesday because we just looked at Tuesday's forecast for the most part. 12Z on Wednesday is actually 7 a.m. We see some slight greens that represent some isolated showers just to the east of the island. Then on Wednesday afternoon, we're seeing that we're still getting that moisture across the eastern end. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, rainfall across the waters to the east of us. Wednesday afternoon, rainfall across the eastern end of the island still. What do we see on Thursday morning? On Thursday morning, we're actually seeing moisture across the northern parishes. On Thursday afternoon, we're seeing moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Thursday morning, northern parishes. Thursday afternoon, rainfall across some northeastern and southern parishes. What do we see on Friday morning? On Friday morning, rainfall across northern parishes as well. Friday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across some eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Friday morning, rainfall across some northern parishes. Friday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on Saturday morning? On Saturday morning, rainfall across the north coast again. Saturday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across what looks like some central western parishes. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, not much of anything. On Saturday afternoon, we're seeing nothing at all taking place. Let's look at Sunday into Monday now. On Sunday morning on the Euro, we're seeing not much of anything across Jamaica. Then on Sunday afternoon, we're seeing what looks like some isolated shores across some southwestern parishes. Then we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Monday, November 24. We're seeing some moisture just to the north of the island. What does the GFS show for Sunday into Monday? On Sunday morning, rainfall to the north of us, rainfall to the south of us. On Sunday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across some central and western parishes, and we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Monday, November 24 as well. And we see the moisture to the north of us on the Euro. The GFS has the moisture across the northeastern end of the island. We'll say it actually plays out for Monday, November 24. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that within the next 7 days, the most rainfall, as we know, is represented by the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. That represents up to 2 to 5 inches of rainfall. The most rainfall should be across the waters to the east of Belize, across eastern Nicaragua, stretching down into Panama, Colombia, western Venezuela, so too sections of southern Venezuela, into Guyana, coastal Suriname, the waters to the north of northeastern South America, and to Trinidad and Tobago. And we know how it goes. These areas could definitely get on some isolated flash flooding for sure. While other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and red should be getting on an inch of rainfall or less for the most part. But if we zoom in on Jamaica's rainfall totals, also for the next 7 days, also keep in mind that both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Monday, November 24, just like the wider view that we just saw. The Euro going up into the blues, into the greens across the northeastern end. The waters to the northeast of us, especially getting up to maybe 36 millimeters of rainfall. The GFS has most of the rainfall touching the coast of the island, especially the northeast, Portland for sure, getting all the way up to 75 millimeters of rainfall. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean, we see some clouds across the eastern Caribbean, to be honest, bringing some rainfall across the leeward and the northern windward islands. We see the trough definitely bringing some rainfall to portions of Cuba as we speak, so to section of the Cayman Islands. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery near Puerto Rico, what's happening down there near Puerto Rico? We're seeing some moisture across eastern to central Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, in and around the Leeward Islands, definitely getting some wet weather. St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda getting some of the wet weather as we speak, some moderate, even some heavy rainfall. Loading these images from earlier today, we saw where they've been getting on some rainfall as well. Looking at the Barbados radar, don't see much of anything across Barbados, but we do see some moisture, hit or miss isolated, light to moderate rainfall pushing into Trinidad and Tobago. So too some moisture for sections of eastern or southeastern St. Lucia, so too northern Martinique, so too eastern and northern Dominica, eastern Guadeloupe getting on some of the action too. The wide wave Doppler radar images also confirming rainfall just to the north of the ABC Islands, northwestern Venezuela, section of Colombia getting on some of the action as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours. So let us look for that map. Let's see. Alright, so within the next 24 hours, this is where the GFS has the rainfall. Well, the Euro has the rainfall over here. So within the next 24 hours, anywhere you see the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, that's up to an inch of rainfall or less for portions of the Leeward Islands. They're going to be getting rainfall across the Leeward into the Windward Islands for sure. So anywhere from Puerto Rico eastward, Anguilla, Antigua, and Barbuda, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Soto, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Soto, sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, southern, western, and northern Venezuela, the ABC Islands getting in on some of the action too. According to the GFS, Euro not so much. So two sections of Colombia, Panama, sections of Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, southern Guatemala, southern Belize, section of the Cayman Islands getting on some of the moisture as well. And we clearly see that both Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, chances are higher for it to actually take place. Taking a look at the let's go all the way back. Taking a look at what's happening here across the eastern Pacific, tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days, and this is the reason why. Not much of anything clouds associated with the intertropical convergence. The one right down here being sheared, some clouds near the Hawaiian Islands, nothing significant trying to acquire the name Sonia at this time. In the Indian Ocean to the western Pacific, we don't see much of anything taking place. However, on the southern Indian Ocean side of things, we saw code yellow yesterday, something that stated that tropical cyclone activity wouldn't have been likely within 24 hours, but now look at that. It has increased in intensity. It stated now that tropical cyclone development is likely within 24 hours, so something trying to develop right here off the coast of northern Australia. We'll see it actually plays out. Not much of anything taking place across the northern western Pacific though. Japan, Taiwan, China, the Philippines chilling, even although we have some moisture affecting portions of Vietnam at this time. Nothing really significant with a name at all. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.